Good morning and good afternoon. Happy Sunday, November 2nd, 2025. Here with another episode of Tech Stack Reimagined, building the ultimate AI powered workspace with Nico. How we doing, man?
We are doing good, sir. Great day today. Got playing around with Claude Code, playing around with Minimax. Can't say I'm doing too bad. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, having fun. Continue to be reminded of why humans are needed in the loop, but not for the reasons that everybody wants. This like daylight savings time, maybe the first workaround in the history of workarounds, if we're
Tell me
if
about
we're
it.
being honest. Here's what just happened and why we are streaming without a scheduled event. Even though I've done that before, today I was gonna, try to schedule an event because I like the way it shows up on this events list, and you can see some different metrics, right? But I click on create. I do some stuff, upload an image, and then if so we can't see here, let me just get this so we can make sure um get the world clock here. So local time, right? 11:15.
Mm-hmm.
So I should be able to select 11:30 as a start time in the future. Let's try and do that. You get this error message when you have selected a time in the past. I know that from doing enough of these. So as I'm trying to publish it, I assume that what has happened is that there's some daylight savings time glitch happening uh, in the system that is the multi-billion dollar like platform company, right? Um, and it goes through, and then I publish it. As I'm publishing it, it kind of switches between 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. Like kind of, I don't care why at this point. Um, but then when we get into StreamYard to try and push play, it says you cannot go. LinkedIn does not allow you to go live more than 15 minutes early. So it is correctly reading that we need humans in the loop to make up for the stupid human shit that is happening in these systems that we have built. Like, and how is that for a perfect example of an actual workaround to solve for like daily life that probably does not apply anymore? And
Mm-hmm.
we cannot get rid. So instead, we're building systems that always have to monitor this time change. Meanwhile, several times over the past 2 weeks, working with people from the UK, from Latin America, everybody's changing times at different weeks. And it's like, oh, we got to cancel and reschedule shit because nobody's on the same damn clock. Like, not to mention states in our own like 50 are just like, no, nah, we're good. Thank you,
Yep.
Arizona and Hawaii, for being reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, anyways, uh, just had to get that. That's why we're reimagining the tech stack here, folks. Like, and relying on AI to do it and not necessarily other humans. Um, because that kind of shit's gotta go. Like we cannot abide by that. Like,
No.
oh man. Like and like how many humans would have just been stopped dead by that? Like, hey, what's to say this doesn't continue into tomorrow and like messes with some people's LinkedIn live events? I hope it's fixed by the morning. I've never had a good interaction with LinkedIn support, so I'm probably not even going to submit a ticket, but maybe I should so it doesn't impact me tomorrow morning because it certainly will if it doesn't get solved. Oh my gosh. I'm realizing this real time, so bear with me,
Oh, man.
people. Um, Anyways, we've been building some cool stuff. So just to bring everybody up to speed as we dive in, let me see. Let's get rid of that local time reminder. Um, where this started, this next level of revelation, and obviously Nico's been on this frequency for a while. Um, for whatever reason, I have not, you know, dove deep into coding to vibe coding. The couple of things I have tried, like the first pass was not, I didn't like it for some reason. So I didn't, that was like enough barrier for me to not continue going. Well, over the past few weeks, actually, we've seen uh, Claude Code with Haiku do some pretty nutty stuff. And then this past week has been Minimax on display. And on Wednesday, Nico, at the end of our daily show, Nico put in a prompt for like a CRM, trying to one shot a CRM. On Friday, I George joins the show and we show him what's what. Then I use that transcript uh, because I've been thinking about like how to best educate on value first, uh, framework kind of stuff, like HubSpot data model, value path, like getting people to stop using leads as a word, as a concept.
Right.
Um, and I'm like, you know what? I get Claude to, as I ask him to check this out, my intent is going to be give me a prompt to build a value first CRM, right? With everything just built in. So I say, like, hey, Claude, look at the conversation we just had about this awesome thing that's happening where we did this with CRM, blah, 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 right? Just to get Claude on the level, right? And he gives me a bunch of other ideas related to the conversation. I'm like, yeah. But let's do this thing instead, which is, can you give me a comprehensive prompt meant for building out a value first native CRM based on the value path? So we're in a project right now that has a bunch of other documentation. So don't get it twisted. Like, this is not from scratch completely. This is me having not taken the leap into vibe coding, getting to use all the other stuff that I've been building out documentation wise, content wise, basically a bunch of different agents inside of Claude as I create all these different projects. Right now, actively thinking about bringing value first out of beta, right? So it's on my mind every day. So I asked for this prompt, and I I tell Claude, go ahead and do a little web search on Minimax just to bring up to speed on where they're at, right? And then I get this comprehensive prompt, right? And I just want to see at this level, like without further. I don't think I went anywhere else here. Yeah, I just take this prompt and I throw it into uh, Minimax. And this was like maybe a half hour after our show, right? I finally say, "Oh man, this is too good. I gotta try it out." And this is where we get um, to a place that, and right now, like obviously, I'm not trying to do anything production ready here. I'm more like this is proof of concept. But the immediate idea is, okay, I'm not trying to build an app to sell necessarily, but
Right.
how much better would it be to actually have a CRM environment built for value first to teach people,
Right.
right?
And
Um,
this is kind of like, I mean, it touches, we'll get into it, even deeper later, but this touches on what we were talking about, I don't know, some months ago. And we were even talking about this last year. So it's kind of funny because it's like while I was thinking about, so I had an idea for an app, still do, and want to build it out, but it's quite the gargantuan. So I don't know that even one person can do it. It might take a small team, but definitely requires a software engineer. Anyway, it's honestly sort of a play on what you're looking at. So in other words, the idea came to me that why couldn't you? As an organization, why should you have to wrap yourself around the CRM? Because nobody understands that shit, right? You have to adopt this platform and it's foreign to you and it's foreign to your business. It's not configured to your business. It doesn't sound like your business. You have to learn how to use it. You've got this onboarding. Now everybody that comes in has to either know this platform, which that becomes a plus on an application, that they know the platform you use already, because that's how difficult it is to learn, right? Or you just summarize your org, put it all together in, you could say, a story, and then discuss with that story how you would like your software platform to work, and how not necessarily how you would like it to work. The best question, how it could work best for you and everyone else on your team. Because then you're going to get into more questions from the model of like, oh, well, what are your teammates like? How many teammates do you have? What are their work schedules? This, that, and the other thing. All of the questions that you would have to spend hours explaining to partners so that they could then take those answers and translate them into services and translate that into some custom object with records and all of that, blah, 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 blah. It's just straight up question and answer for you. And then you hit enter and this happens. So
Yeah.
to tie it all back, like the idea was that you would be able to have a software platform where you would essentially tell it what type of business you were, and the platform would build out your CRM for you based on the answers that you gave it. But you're looking at the same thing. So that's why I say I'm not really sure how worthwhile the software idea even is at this point, because this.
Right. Well,
Right.
that's what we've been talking about, right? Like Sec Reimagined is helping you get to the place where every individual human has their own tech stack because they have access to tools like this. It's like if you take out any bias for things you like or the way things have been done, it's like, of course, it's like building your own computer, except like having somebody right there to build it for you, right? Like if you don't need, I'm not gonna, if you don't need like marketing attribution up the ass because you don't believe in it and you know it's like false hope, right? You can build everything else like without that.
Right.
Until you're like, oh, I understand the concept of marketing attribution now. Here's how I think we can do it. Hey, CRM, I'm ready to do this now. How should it apply to our organization? And then it gets built out fully with the business context already there. Like I keep on using the word native like more and more.
Mm-hmm.
It's like business context native, like coming from the place of your business context. And this is like what Nico's saying when it's like, no, don't take something that was built without your business context and then try to force your business context into it. Like, what if we could just start from business context always?
Yep.
Right. And that's where we're at here. Right. Obviously, what I showed, like, this is like just it was 30 minutes and it's asking me questions, not too many throughout the process, but it was meant to be like, all right, this is phase one, take a look, click around. And I in my mind, I'm like, all right, I want to do that at some point. And I'm going to, but I'm also going to explore like, okay, I wasn't considering a lot of this like it as a teaching tool. Like I was just saying like, hey man, CRM.
Yeah.
And one of my learnings is that one of the things Minimax did was go and look at how to CRM. right? Which often might get in the way of what we're trying to accomplish if we're anti-status quo and like don't want to do it the way things have been done.
Mm.
So I'm probably more likely to start with a new prompt at some point. I still want to learn what has happened here. Um, but just the immediate understanding of the power here and the value that was provided of something that, even as it starts to do it, and I can't stop giving Claude giving me instructions like, all right, this would be like a 6 to 12 month, build. It's like, stop it, dude. I tried to like make some more robust global instructions today.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll see how it goes. But the instructions of stop giving me human-based timelines have been around for a while, and I just can't. You just can't help himself. Like, yeah, this is a lot of work. And it's like, dude, you're about to do it in like 30 minutes. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Right? He's like, oh yeah, you're right. You're right. That was okay.
Yeah. I got to admit, if you make it part of, so like in Visual Studio and stuff, like if you make it a part of the initial instruction or you make it a part of the documentation that you use when you're building, then it'll ignore it. But if not, yeah, you end up with that thing where it's like, this is a great idea. Yeah, it's awesome. Look, in week one, we could do this part. And you're just like, oh man, here we go. Like, dude, you're going to be doing it. So this isn't even like a thing. You're the developer. I just tell you what to do and stuff.
So here's where we went today. Because I've been telling myself and a few other people that I'm trying to launch Value First Team in short order. We've been doing content for a while, trying to make it into like a meaningful platform where people can reach out for help and turn it into some revenue. So I'm like, okay. Meanwhile, I know at some point if I want personalized, experiences throughout the website, throughout the entire experience, I want to leverage HubSpot as my favorite customer platform that captures data and signals and unstructured data and all the business context, right? Like I want the website there to support that, but that will take significantly longer. And I know that these kinds of tools can just build websites and like host them like I just showed you, right? So I was like, hey, maybe we can start there and see what that looks like. Because I also know there are some things you can do in HubSpot where it's just like, oh, look at that website and now make it, right? So can I build a proof of concept website over here and then have HubSpot AI layer like start to build it out for me? Exploring that. So it started with, actually, I was just preparing to start building it out in HubSpot. That's how this chat started. I was like, all right, let's get a mind map going, like make sure I've identified all the stuff. Well, eventually I get to the thought that I'm going to compare Cloud Code build out and Minimax build out. Probably don't even get to the Cloud Code, honestly. Because I can't do it. I would have to ask somebody else around me that might be interested in doing that. But I get to this Minimax agent build prompt, right? And that
Mhm.
brings us, oh, a little too early there. And so just to kind of tell the whole story, I give some documents. I I say I don't want to overwhelm you, so let me know what you need. There's a lot here. Um, I think in the past, even when I was working with uh, the first agentic thing that was like the Manus,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
I noticed pretty quickly that I overwhelmed it with content out of the gate, started getting a lot of content wrong, and you start to find the weaknesses, right?
Mhm.
So I approached this a little bit differently based on that experience. Um, and I say, let's talk about it to confirm your understanding of the project. We do that, gives me pretty good representation, asks me a bunch of questions. which I take the time to, enter my responses. And I'll say, even this are things that maybe I've thought of in my head, but I hadn't documented it yet. So the value of just going through this as if I was working with somebody else to get this done. Like, I've got a Google Doc open over here. I'm tracking what's happening in this chat so that I can document it. Says I've received the brief. Right, understand and confirmed. At this point, I try to give a zip file with a bunch of different logos in it. That did not work.
File, yeah.
So lesson learned there. Foundation setup complete. All these checks, which I don't really read any of them. Ready for your review and next steps. Would you like me to deploy to a preview URL so you can see the live site? You're damn right I would. And then we'll go forward. At this point, I understand I got to give the logos separately. And then I said, let me review the site first, and then we'll continue with these steps in this order. All right. Look at these things. Like, no chance in hell am I ever doing this, like, ever.
Right.
Like, right.
Right.
And so all this stuff happens, and this is happening like on my other screen. And I'm starting to do things like using the mind map and starting to map it out so that I can, like, get others involved, other humans involved, and maybe even other AIs involved. But there's your value first website is now live. And here it is. Just some note right away. Like, the colors, not an exact match of what was asked for, but the look and feel is wonderful, right? And this is where I, as a human, need to let go a little bit of what my preconceived notion of what the
What your
outcome
branding should be.
was going to need to be. I wouldn't say the branding, but like understanding that I'm not a design professional. What I'm working with knows more about design than I do. This is like, imagine me as the CEO.
And did you look at the steps where it's like passing this off to the graphic designer and passing this off to the web designer, and like web designer says this?
I did not
You go into those sections where it's thinking, particularly the sections where it's thought for like a second or whatever, maybe a minute or like, whatever, something like that, 30 seconds. Usually that's when it's passed it off to another. Basically, it has these underlying, what makes it such a great coding agent and why it's on par with Codex and Claude Code. While those are just straightforward, that's Claude, it's good at doing it, or that's Codex, it's good at doing it. You'll also note that Claude works best when it works with tools, same with GPT. So if you combine it with like MCP tools, then it's a little bit better because it has this preconceived understanding of how things should work. Basically, it doesn't have to figure that out on its own. What Minimax does that I found amazing is they basically did what OpenAI does, but for their platform. So you have your coder expert, you have your graphic design expert, you have your web expert, you have your social expert, blah, 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 blah. And so it doesn't try to do it all as one model. It's got these expert models that it just kind of taps for resources as it goes along. And I don't know, I find it, the orchestration of it is phenomenal because that's legitimately the only way that it could possibly keep up and stay on par with, frontier end models. I mean, like, it's really like, guys, you don't get it. Like, I have been vibe coding for over a year. You don't understand how amazing this platform is until you have used, like, go use Lovable and then use this and tell me that Lovable's good. That's what I mean, right? Like, Lovable is garbage compared to this. The output might take a little bit longer here. Way better. And if you think that it's easy to set up my Supabase with Lovable, nope, not as easy as it is. Not as easy as this. You literally just click project, click which thing it is, and done. You don't even have to copy paste anything unless you're using third-party APIs, which are literally, it will just ask you for it, and then you just paste it in there. It's the most
Right.
ridiculously awesome, easy platform. Yes, please go on. I'm sorry.
No,
I get
right.
excited.
Like this is what happened on I think it
In one
was
day, in an hour, right?
here. Like no, on Friday, right? Like we
Yeah.
got done with the show at 7:30 a.m. my time. I did another show. By the way, on that 30-minute show, like Nico, which will show his outcome, but he's like troubleshooting and doing more while George and I are talking about stuff. Nico's like publishing to LinkedIn and like doing all this stuff that we're talking about real time. It's like we're creating content and publishing stuff and creating like it's the power. But I get done with the shows at like 8 o'clock and I have somewhere to be at 9:30. A client site. Right. And I start with Minimax like at the end, like once I have free time after 8 o'clock. Like got this idea. I'm just like, hey Claude, I might have even started that while we were doing the AI show. I don't know. Uh, but I said, hey, Claude, wouldn't it be cool to have a value for a CRM with this stuff built in? Gives me the prompt. I come over, copy, paste it. It starts working. It's my first time using it. So I'm not sure about when I need to be paying attention and I'm doing other stuff. I respond to a couple different questions and then I got to leave. Right. On my desktop computer, I got to leave. Okay. So this instance is at locally at home on the browser. I go to the client site and there's some time before we get started up. I open up my laptop and I come to Minimax in this agent and I get the prompt. I need you to set up Superbase now. So I'm like, okay, I've never done that before. Let's click some buttons. I now have a Superbase account integrated with my GitHub account, which I did have, but never use because I'm not a developer, right? That was from like a year and a half ago when I was trying to do some cool stuff with Claude.
All
And
of a
I
sudden, you're
was
like,
able
oh
to,
shit, repos.
right? And I went back then. That was like I had to do everything to set up the GitHub as Claude like walked me through it, right? This time didn't have to touch Superbase. Like it just like I just
Like,
did it
done.
in a couple of clicks. Now I have that stuff. Now it can do stuff for me. And that like on a different device, like on a laptop in a different location, like we'd never stopped working together.
Mhm.
Right? Like which kind of blew my mind at how easy it was to pick that stuff up because some of this stuff you're like, okay, I can't
Sounds super
leave.
complicated.
I don't want to close a window. Will it just stop and not finish? Like, at least from my perspective, like the difference between is it going to finish the response right now, or is this one of those times where I can come back later? Right. Like, uh, but I was able to pick it up the first time using this tool with none of these other accounts set up, getting to this point at a different location. I just can't get over that. That's how it happened on Friday. Right. So, me as the human who's been like, yeah, maybe someday, I might get use out of this. Right. Even though I am a high advocate of AI, I still had not activated this part yet. Now I'm all in, like, because of that experience, just like frictionless to the outcome, right? And that's where, for me, I have run into hurdles where, right, where we get to this part and it's just, or we don't get to the part. Like, I can't get to the live thing. We've been talking about it as last mile. And, as we started the show, I was like on Friday, it's like that last mile might be 1 foot now, like 1 foot, 1 inch.
Yep.
Right. Like,
Yep.
and that
And that's
gets
what I've been
me.
telling people that like I think I think you definitely remember that. I was like, by the end of December, just one prompt, you're going to be able to just give it a sentence and it's going to come out with something magnanimous and like do it fairly quickly too. So like, here's where we are in beginning of November. I'm telling you guys, by January, a new model, like a new level frontier model, is going to be out. I mean, probably Gemini 3. I don't know whether that's going to be underlying something else, but I can almost guarantee that if somebody builds a auto coding agent on top of Gemini 3, yeah, you're going to definitely. I am already blown away by how far Gemini 2 can go, like Gemini 2 Pro. I imagine Gemini 3 Pro can legitimately just crush apps all single day long, like front end, back end, no problem. Like Gemini 2 like 2.5 Pro smashes front ends like it was nothing. You could kill any front end for any application that you wanted to with Gemini 2 Pro, hands down. Back end, not there. Obviously, it's only front end software. It can't do much. It can build your back end files for you, but good luck stitching that together. I think when 3 and like 3 Pro comes out, they're probably at some point going to have that maybe underlying Firebase. And maybe that's going to be a paid option for Firebase. I kind of hope it is. Once they do, Firebase becomes like stupid popular. It will be one of the top vibe coding platforms out there. So January, I think by the end of Q1, we will see more coders. We'll see more app developers. Probably maybe twice as many as I think maybe by the end of Q1, you'll see twice as many app developers creating apps than there were at the beginning of or at the end of Q1 this year. I'm willing to put money on that because I've already seen the explosion of app developers. Like, I'm not even joking. This is the way I look at it. You're going to be walking around and it's going to be just like it is now. And when I say this sentence, you're going to understand exactly what I mean. When you walk around nowadays and you take a look around at everybody that's walking around you, you don't know who's taking a self-defense class. You have no clue. I've got 5 years of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under my belt. Plus a couple years of karate. You wouldn't know it because I don't look it. It's going to be the exact same way with coders. You are going to see app developers and you won't know it. I have spoken with many of them. You wouldn't know it. Their moms, their dads, their kids, their college kids, their teachers in schools. I'm not even joking. Like, these are people who have come to me and asked me about auto coding and how to help them start developing their own applications. This is what we were talking about when we said everybody is locked down in a job that they don't necessarily want to do right now. And the only reason that they can't do something else that they would rather do or more creative than what they're doing is because of the fact that they're basically gated by not necessarily knowing how to use the tools to complete the thing that they wish they could complete. There are plenty of directors out there, plenty of actors, plenty of screenwriters. All of that's possible now. There are plenty of musicians that can't play music. Let me tell you, sadly, there are plenty of musicians who can no longer play music. Who used to physically, but can no longer physically play music. There are some people who were born that physically will never be able to even remotely play an instrument, but they have music in their head. There are people who have art in their head, but they don't know how to wield a brush. All of this stuff is becoming possible, whether you like it or not, and it's happening at a lightning pace. I'm watching it on the side with, did you know that they have kind of cracked Alzheimer's? While you were sleeping, they kind of figured it out. not
Yeah.
necessarily like reversing Alzheimer's condition, but they have actually figured out a way to detect very early on when you're having it, and a treatment that can actually prevent it from coming into fruition through Gemini, by the way, Google DeepMind, of course.
Yeah. That was mentioned on a recent Moonshots episode. Like, this is why it's not going to slow down, right?
Right.
Like, because we are doing things that are preventing the loss of human life, that are curing diseases, that are enabling a quality of life that everybody wants.
Wow,
And
digital jazz, man.
this is a situation where you're going to take the good with the bad, because nobody's going to say no to the good,
Yep.
right? And if anybody does, you just won't be able to. All right. You want to talk about getting canceled? Like, if you try to suggest, like, well, these AI companies, it's like, sorry, dude, my grandpa has Alzheimer's, and if we can, yeah, like, I don't care
Right.
about any of this other shit. Like,
Right.
it's the only way it's happening. Let's go. Right. What can I do? Right. And with that comes a little bit of trust. That's why all of this is like trust milestone based, in terms of like, if you trust, the more you trust AI as infrastructure and less like tool to tool, which company's doing what and all these things, like that's the wave that's coming, and that's the transition. That's why we started going live on Sundays. Like, if you trust the um the abundance and the progress that AI can enable, then the rest, I want it to be this easy. I don't think it's gonna be this easy, but the rest will take care of itself. Like, because AI, like, cannot operate in unnecessary complexity, like, it won't compute, and it'll
Right.
just do things better, like, wherever you unleash it. Even if, this is the part where I stand to be corrected. Like, I don't doubt that some people will be able to figure out, maybe, ways of doing this, but even the humans who try to misuse it, like, I think AI is going to be there. Like, at some level, it's not going to make any sense, or it's going to be a worse way of operating. And it's gonna be like, nah, bro. Like, what? Like, yeah. So, um, yeah. Hopefully, this is like, we're gonna try and start showing this stuff as often as we can, because, like, no matter what industry you're in, and back to your note about the, like, various people of all sorts, like, starting to leverage these things. Not only is it people who maybe don't like their jobs or don't want to be in their jobs, but I think probably more often is what we're seeing is people who love the vision and mission, like a teacher, for
Mm.
example, but have never had the tools they need to execute effectively, to be present for the students while they're trying to build curriculums that are built for tests and not for knowledge.
Yeah.
Right now, these are the people that are really engaged in the mission, and they can be activated and put in a position to be successful because these tools exist. And
Yep.
they will certainly do that. They are doing that before they try to, because a lot of these people have committed their life to trying to, you know, activate kids in this way, as an example of teachers, knowing that they are gonna not have it the way that they want it for a long period of time. And then either you get beaten down and you get along to go along, or, that teacher passion gets pushed somewhere else.
Hmm.
Right. And now it doesn't have to be that way. Um, so it's
I
really,
mean, and it's, I think of the, like, you know, adults are one thing. Again, when I said that you're going to see like twice the amount of app developers, try not to forget the, like, everybody else out there. right? So like by that time next year, like kids will be doing it as the same way that they play Minecraft or Roblox. Like they'll be developing apps as they'll be developing their own games. You get it? Like is it starting to sink in at all, guys? Like I don't know anymore because like we keep saying this stuff and it keeps coming to fruition, and then I keep seeing like slack jaws out there just what? Like, and it's just like I don't know. I don't understand how you're not seeing the ripples that are happening here. But yeah, by the end of next year, okay, Hollywood is like an afterthought. Gaming development studios, afterthought. App development studios, afterthought. Like all of that shit. By December of next year, none of those things will be like I can't say none of those things. A lot of those things won't be like massive corporations, or if they are, it'll be this mass corporation that puts out like thousands upon like tens of thousands of products or content, right? Like it'll be doing a multitude of different things. It won't just be working on like one little app. It won't be Bungie working on one game that takes 5 years and then they have to retool it in the last year because of the fact that it took 5 years and new game engines have come out since, so they have to retool it for the new game engine. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be like a prompt and 3 days later they're going to launch a game.
Yeah. And that's like it won't be on a pedestal anymore. Like this level of production value and creativity, right? But they will be creating a ton more. Like literally everybody knows now the name of the game is providing like enabling individualized experiences in every aspect of your life. And so there will be some that rely on those people to do that, but it won't be like a shining city on a hill anymore.
Yeah.
There'll be like all kinds of villages and like everything on the way there where you can go there if you want, but you won't need to, right? And it's not like you remember the oh man, this is a while ago. You remember that Jurassic Park clip? Like that was like the turn the Jurassic Park theme song into like a harmonica, like it was showing like dinosaur, right?
Yep.
Like that kind of stuff. Unless you're purposely doing that, like is done. Like you won't be able to create that low level of quality, like unless you're specifically like, telling it to do that, right? And that level of intention, like plus just creative will, it's just gonna be like undeniable.
It is like it's funny you brought that up because like a quick example, I was just listening to so I work a lot in Suno, and one of the things that me and my wife were talking about this morning was that the fact that I've created a band and we're already 4 albums deep. It's amazing stuff. I listen to it like constantly. And the thing that I was saying was like, it's crazy to me that, I mean, initially when I was like singing the lyrics, I was just like, whoa, okay. But then I just made myself like come to terms with it because it's like, well, it's lyrics. They were written, they were sung. Does it really like none of that matters? You enjoy the sound of it, you enjoy singing. So what's the big deal? And then this morning I was like, you know what sucks really bad is that I love this band so much, but I will never see them live. Right? Like that hit a little different because up until now, I really hadn't personified any aspect of AI to such a degree that I wanted it to also exist in reality. It's always just been this back and forth, like, yeah, you're in the box, I'm out here, that's the way it is. And this morning, I finally found myself in the mindset of like, damn, okay, that's a crazy, nearly tragic realization that you could like fall in love with this thing so much, and then you kind of forget and you get lost, and all of a sudden realize like, all right, well, I'm never gonna get to like meet them or like see them on stage, and like even if other people listen to them, there's never gonna be a like. So then I
But
started thinking, we started talking about it. And she's like, but you could still see them live. I was like, yeah, I guess if you did like a like Kendrick Lamar Fortnite or like Gorillas, you know, virtual tour, virtual concert, and then it's like, is that going to start to matter, right? Like,
yeah. So Ready Player One, newly available to watch on Netflix as of yesterday.
watch the
Uh,
hell out of it, please, as it will be the future in the coming months.
yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like next year, bro. And it's like, will the haptic suit like be
Oh yeah,
available for
dude,
you?
it's already out there. Like not
Right?
a full body haptic suit. Well, there is a full body haptic suit. It's not. I wouldn't say it's that good, but Woojer makes some amazing haptic gear. And I'm actually extremely surprised at like how good it is already. There are already trackpads. There are octagonal trackpads. You can run on them. The VR gear, I mean, Quest 3 is already at something like 2K in terms of the quality on it. Not doesn't get nearly as hot. I lost the ability to do VR, which is probably the worst thing that's ever happened, but it's
I
whatever.
know. It sucks.
Every once in a while I'll take a Dramamine and
Yeah.
take a risk.
Somebody figure that out, please. I know somebody will.
I know. I'm pretty sure it's still a frame rate issue. I think that's all it is.
Right.
But
yeah, I think I'm pretty bullish. There will be a
Same.
VR experience like what we're describing available at Inbound 2026. It's like, mark it down.
Really? You're bullish on that, huh?
Yeah, like it's gonna.
Oh,
Like if you're thinking about, like if you're gonna do the work
it's possible.
of doing an online experience, and this is available to you, I like, and that's where like how much have people adopted VR starts to come into play, right? So if anything, it doesn't happen because not enough of us have haptic suits, right, and VR setups. Otherwise,
Right.
it's like how many of us have glasses? I guarantee they're thinking about it. Like, and
I mean, I want to get it. Like, if I could, if I had normal people eyes, I'd already have a pair of Ray-Bans. Hands, like without a doubt, I would have had them when they launched. Okay, that's how bad I want augmented reality. So, I mean, I've seen way too many. I'd hack the shit out of that stuff, so it just starts identifying. Like, if you don't think I want Terminator vision, get out of here. Like that's what I'm after. So, like that. I totally see it happening.
That live concert experience, like it is a matter of, can you put the human in a place where it can't, like it can completely disconnect?
The Vegas sphere. So I think you can actually start to also build. Here's jobs. What about what's going to happen to jobs? I think you can actually build an environment specifically for this, where even if you weren't wearing VR, you would be so immersed in the environment itself from the way it was set up that it would legitimately feel like it was actual band, like you were actually there, maybe like they were actually performing or whatever. Because I could see in that sphere, you could absolutely do the graphics in such a way that it looks 3D enough that from any angle, you're going to see people on stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is what I think, I would imagine the companies that are on the hill right now, the Hollywoods, the iHeart Radios, somebody somewhere is working on this experience where it's like they could do concerts, multiple different kinds of concerts every single night, and charge people like for the attendance. So they're gonna work, if they're smart, which they are. They will work with the software and hardware companies to invest and like make sure this hardware comes out. And that's when we get to the concept of Bitcoin and all that kind of digital coin to be able to pay for this stuff like in different ways. That's the latest episode of Moonshots, which I'm not all the way through, but it just makes so much sense that you start to remove this. AI inherently just helps you remove all of the friction of the human experience. And it's
Yep.
never been in the best interest of these companies to try and remove that friction because they've been profiting off of it instead.
You're damn right.
Right. And now it will be in their best interest because they're getting competitive pressure from all over the place, where if they don't and people are just going to build it friction free, they're not going to be chosen by the humans who want friction free.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
let me tell you, like, there are plenty of like, especially when it comes to medical, there are plenty of like doctors, nurses, stuff like that, different people who want to be able to give better care, who want to be able to spend more time with their patients. And a lot of the ways in which they're going to be able to do that, right? Again, doctors don't necessarily have to be a part of networks. They can have their own practice, they can have their own offices and stuff like that. I mean, as the technology gets better, easier, faster, they can see more patients. And it's not a matter of, oh, I'm just running you in and out of here. It's a matter of, hey, you came in, here's the scan, let's talk about the results. And instead of you having to put on a gown and walk 15 minutes down to an area and take 15 minutes to get the scan and then walk back, and then 30 minutes later, the doctor shows up and they had to wait for a radiologist. So they're going to come back in an hour. And then all of a sudden you're out like 10K for a hospital bill that you didn't really think you were going to have to pay in the first place, right? Or they just do a really quick scan with their cell phone because like they have ultrasound now that you just hook up to your cell phone. Yeah. And then they use it for heart attacks now. They use it for early detection on heart attacks. And they just scan your chest. And right there, they just look at it and it pulls up the thing. And then the AI does its deal, and the doctor reads, because the AI is going to spit back the medical explanation on it so the doctor can understand the details. And then he's going to translate that to human for you. And then the two of you are going to sit there and have a conversation about your condition and what you need to do. Instead of, oh yeah, you took the results, cool, I got another guy coming in at 9:15. You know what? You go ahead, head home. I'll get back to you. I'll call you with the results. Right? Like that's not medical care. That's, hey, I got to get you in and out of here because I got somebody else behind you. Right? So me personally, looking forward to it, especially looking forward to the fact. So the reason I bring that up is because, again, if that doctor is able to give better care, that's where I'm going. I'm going where the doctor can spend time to like explain stuff to me, to talk to me like a person, and not just in and out. Right? And so even if medical insurance companies aren't able to like handle the changeover, these individuals, and it's happening all over the country. If you have it available to you, I highly suggest it. It's concierge doctors, right? They run their business the same way Netflix does. Subscription, sub for $90 a month. Come in at least pretty much however often you want to, but without excessiveness. And it's why not? That's the way to do it. Whether you have health insurance or not, you just pay $100 a month and they're covered, right? It's a new way of doing business, new way of doing practice, new medical therapies coming in, a lot of costs coming down, right? So you're going to get individual medical practices that are going to be able to operate at the same scale as these fully jacked up, paid out, insurance bloated offices at like lower cost with greater care. So what's going to happen to the big businesses more than anything is they're going to have to start caring again, because that's what they lack today. They don't care about you. Try getting a hold of someone at Google if you have an issue. Please. I have been trying to cancel my business account that I mistakenly set up like a year ago, and I still can't get a hold of somebody because I can't log into my admin account, and the admin account's tied to some other account, so you can't get into that one. It's a thing. And if Gemini was somewhere to be found in the mix, boy, would this problem be over. But one day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great because the day that happens, I can guarantee you, here's another thing that'll happen for you guys that probably wouldn't happen up until now. I'm going to eventually talk to that AI one day and I'm going to be like, hey, so you can see that I legitimately never used a single Google business tool from the time I signed up to now, right? Now that I'm canceling it. Yeah, cool. So that's refund, right? Because wrongfully signed up, been there for that long a time, wasn't using it anyway because I couldn't get out of it. That's how that works. Yeah. Processing your refund, right? Like, I'm sure there's going to be obviously whatever policies and stuff behind it, but I can guarantee you that resolution is going to be a totally different thing. Stress is going to mean something very different in 2030. It just is. Like, my own stress levels have come down tremendously in the last like month. And it's just because like the models have gotten that much better that my work is that much easier and it's going that much faster. So
I'd say
like,
some friction has been removed for you in that time as well. Yeah. No, I think like it's going to be interesting to see how humans evolve, probably with the help of AI, like to manage stress, because we're built for it. We're built to create like stress responses. And now we find silly ways to create stress based on social and all these other things. As that starts to fall away, again, I think this relates to the idea of helping. Like the barrier for most humans is be like figuring out what actually makes you happy instead of the 9 to 5 job that you think is what you're on this earth to do. But with that, back to my obvious or not so obvious agenda of telling people about Value First Team through this website project. Like the part when we talk about AI orchestration, as like anybody that thinks their job is in jeopardy, you have a path like ready made, and it's called AI orchestration. Like learning how to do that, learning where it makes sense. Because I could check out here, and I have probably in the past when I'm expecting everything to happen for me. But now that I have a really intentional thing that I'm trying to get done, right? As this was even in the prompt, right? Like if you know me, I immediately was triggered by this part. Excellent SEO. Like, even though this is where the humans should know, like, oh, everybody and their brother saying SEO on the way out, and it's about AEO, right? I'm not going to go all there, but right away we are working off of legacy knowledge here, right? And so and I saw this in the prompt, and as I was working with Claude, I was like, all right, I'll get to it later. I just want to get this out the door, but I'm going to need to correct that at some point. And then you don't, and gets built in, and then we continue these systems. I say I should add this perspective. The site will serve as production ready beta site, and goal is to publish final site using HubSpot. I do not believe in traditional SEO strategies. I want to build an initial site that enables effective proactive sharing, as conversion will happen together with our target audience and almost never organically. As long as LLMs can understand, I'm choosing not to use AEO or GEO or whatever kind of strategy like that people think they should be using. As long as LLMs can understand the website and content on it,
Mhm.
We do not need to add the traditional complexity brought on by usual B2B goals. So that is me as a human orchestrating this. Because I'm like, beyond that, I don't care which one. Like, pick the one. I don't know anything about these things. All I know is this is not a green light, right? So here's how I feel about this question. Pick the one that you need to pick. Uh,
Yep.
Content readiness. Um, and so I take the time to answer these questions. Another place I'm having to correct the way that B2B has seen things is like when I asked for like a media spot on the website. It's like, oh, like, does it really make sense to have like news coverage and like third party references to value? I'm like, no, that's not what I'm trying to do. I know that's how everybody else talks about media and B2B, but I'm using media to say this is the cadence. Like, we need to act like a media company. So we need a lot of content, we need a lot of people joining it. It's cadence, it's volume, it's production value, right?
Mhm.
So I'm constantly having to correct that like status quo knowledge base, right?
So,
And
I
I'm
have a question.
happy. Go ahead.
Is you said this is coming from Claude first, right?
Uh, yes,
So does the project that you're working in not have all that?
all this stuff.
No, no, I like because you're saying that um like these are things that you dislike about what it's doing. Was this Minimax's interpretation of what you gave it from Claude and it's doing this?
Um,
Or is it based on what
so
you
I
get like or
so
is
I
it
didn't
basically
have
trying
to
to verify?
I didn't have to correct it here. I had to correct it in Claude, like
Got it. Okay.
in the
Got it.
chat. So I was just highlighting it as to even get to this point. I had to correct Claude while we were building the prompt.
Yep.
And so, and I tell it what not to build, even though I know it could build this out because this is
Mhm.
something that's already started in HubSpot, right? And here we go. Phase development approach. Phase one, like, should build everything at once, 12 to 16 weeks. Like, what? Like, what are we talking about here? Phased approach with regular deployments, right? So I'm answering a lot of this. I'm trying to orchestrate. There's a main agent that I'm interfacing with, and I know it's going to work with other agents. That's me trying not to do the work, just orchestrating, the resources that are suggested to me that say they can do the work, right?
Mhm.
What is cool is as this stuff gets better, and as you do this within these project environments and memory, there are spots where you just no, like, I trust you. Like, just answer all these questions the way that you feel they should be answered, and keep going.
Yeah.
Right. Uh, and so I gave it that answer, and we'll just cut to the end here because I haven't looked at the site yet. All I know is these are the kinds of things like easy to read. It shows its own colors, obviously, but um, it's it's consumable, right? And that's one of the things I think when I said like out of the gate, I'm not doing it for discoverability. It needs to be easy to share. It needs to be easy to consume. Right? Don't care about like keywords and all the other stuff that gets in the way of actually getting like websites out the door. Um, because I am counting on once it's in the hands of all the value first contributors, now we can enable a lot of the things that we've been talking about. Right.
Right.
I'm really interested in what's going to happen here uh, because this is the kind of thing, again, that would take development effort. And right now it's coming out with the website. So we're just going to take a little leads trap assessment here. How much valuable information do you share freely versus requiring contact information first? and I'm just going to take this as if I'm the businesses that I run into every day. Almost everything requires form submission before access. Okay. What must prospects prove before you'll actually help them? I guarantee people don't like the way this question is framed, but it's the truth, right? Like, oh, these got to have a score of 80 and they have to have done this and this and this and filled out this, and then we'll help them. Except we don't say it like that. We say, oh, then let's set up the discovery call. Let's help us, right? Complete detailed qualification forms and meet BANT criteria. Next, when prospects move from marketing to sales to customer success, how much human context travels this with them? This is where I got to work on like the practical language. It's basically when prospects move from marketing to sales to customer service, how bad is that handoff? How much does that suck? Let's say contact info, lead score, and behavioral data. Which best describes your team incentives and metrics? Separate metrics per department, MQLs, SQLs, conversions, probably retention on here too if we're talking about customer success. How do you handle prospects who need more time to explore before formal engagement? We have automated sequences pushed towards sales calls regardless of readiness. What does nurturing mean in your organization? Automated email sequences designed to move through funnel stages, certainly not authentic human connection focused on serving genuine needs. And question number 7, when your best team members quit, what do they say this job actually felt like? Processing leads, hitting conversion targets, and managing pipeline. All right, so almost everything is consumable and readable. So that'll certainly be some of the feedback provided. But again, what you're not seeing, 34 out of 35, like the complexity of past of being able to build an assessment like this and have it ready. It's just like I shouldn't have to describe what has been required in the past. Like it's not a couple of minutes worth of work. I'll tell you that, right? What you actually just diagnosed, right? And then we've got some schedule a discovery session. Oh, wow. Takes me right to a contact page. I wonder what this is meant to be for like a HubSpot calendar link. When I give it to it, access client form. Man, this is.
And that's the thing is like, it's all like, even if it's not actually in place, built out, even on the back end, it's going to be set up, or it's going to have the notation on the back end or whatever, so that when you are ready and you do want to put it in, oh, okay, let's slap it in there. It's really not like, I don't know. It's amazing to me.
Yep. And these are designed for these are designed for podcasts. So I gave it an RSS feed. Obviously, there's some work to be done here. But then this takes us to all of our shows, which is going to be a Value First channel soon enough. Live content. I mean, it makes me feel like the end is possible, right? Like, and I can't.
Like you said, it's like actually close and attainable. It doesn't feel like it's, like it feels inches away, like you said.
Right. And so now this is where I asked Nico, I've got Supabase, GitHub. What do I need to do to put this on beta.valuefirsttteam.com?
So what we would need from here is is that hosted on HubSpot, or is that?
It will not be hosted on HubSpot.
Perfect. then you would need to go back to Minimax and open up the project where it says view all files, and then click the download, which is just across from the files. Yep. Okay. And now you're going to, let me see, type in, actually, this is perfect. Yeah, just type in a prompt and say, can you please create a build for me that I can upload to my web server? Yeah. That way you don't have to do it. And we take several steps out of the process. And what's sick, right, is if, let's just say that it couldn't for some reason, or it tells you that it can't do that. This is one of those things where we can take your downloaded file, upload it to GitHub, and then if you have GitHub Copilot, you can just go ask GitHub Copilot, be like, hey, can you create a build for me, blah, blah, blah. So what a build is once you actually have like an application put together, sometimes it's just a front end file, which is great, or it's just a front end application, which is awesome. It's really lightweight. Other times, most of the time, it's going to be front and back end. And it might even have middleware. So, full stack app might have like third-party connectors and stuff. In those cases, because it's both pieces, it needs to be built together as one thing. And then that one thing is what gets uploaded to your server or gets launched. You can do it through like Railway. There's a bunch of different ways. But that is what we were doing in the event that anybody is wondering.
And I'm anticipating I'm going to have to set up a hosting account somewhere.
That's what I was going to ask. If you have that subdomain set up on a hosting service?
I do not.
Okay. Yeah, then we'll need to set one up. Not the most difficult thing. Well, you're through your Ionos, right? You should have server space there.
Okay.
Yeah. See, yeah, I guarantee you have it and you don't even realize it.
Right. It's mainly like it's hard for me to think because I'm not a developer.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You don't know what you have and where you have it, right? So like for any of you guys out there, if you have a domain, generally because of just how cheap this stuff is, generally if you have a domain, it also comes with like a hosting part, right? It's not just the domain. It might offer like whatever hosting too. If it doesn't, most hosting sites are like, I don't know, like $4 a year or something like it's super cheap, like in a lot of cases, or like $2 a month, like super cheap. And it gives you gobs of storage, and the processing is not bad on most hosting companies. So really not a big deal. And just having access to that just gives you a nice virtual storage place where you can store your files. Please don't store anything secretive because somebody will definitely hack your shit, and then it's not my fault. But it gives you a spot to basically upload your finished applications, so you can mess around with them there. Obviously, if it's more complex, it's going to involve more complex stuff. I would hope that Minimax tells you that, but one of the files that it will more than likely give you is a README file. And there's a reason it's called that, because as you read through it, it'll tell you not only about your application, how it's set up and all that kind of stuff, but it also explains how to start your application for local development. Sometimes it'll include a deployment documentation, but if it doesn't, again, you can always do just like this. You can say, hey, I want to upload this to my web server. Can you give me the files or whatever? What do I need to do? Most of the autocoders and stuff that I work with, I love working with VS Studio because of the fact that you can like tweak and sort of prompt it, and you can give your agent like its own personality and stuff. So they're all geared towards me not knowing shit. and all of them have the same sort of background instruction of like, hey, you're the software engineer, you're the software developer. Don't ask that guy anything complicated related to the program. Like, don't even mention like programming languages or anything like that. The guy's not going to understand it. So everything has to be in like lay terms. All he's going to know is, what he wants the app to look like, how he wants the app to work, and like what stuff he wants to be where. He's not going to know anything beyond that. So you're just going to have to make all the major decisions. Don't ask him about what packages to use. Don't ask him about any sort of technical stuff. Like, you just make the best choices for what it is that you're doing. And it's been gold. It's been real gold. Like I said, stress levels just dropping through the floor.
All right.
My teammates are just getting smarter.
Yep, that they are.
So yeah, this sucks only because like the agent is obviously taking a lot longer than you could do it manually. Like, if you did this manually, it probably would be done by now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I can't. So
right.
instead, I'm going over to Ionos, figuring out stuff over there. This is happening
that
in the
up
background.
There you go. Right. Yeah, this is what it was like the other day. Like, we were, again, like George and Chris were just having a conversation. I was working on crushing out this. I wasn't even doing it for any particular reason either. I was just like, oh, you know what? I'll build an app. I'll build an app for the Columbus Zoo, and it'll be something that they can use to like manage animals and stuff like that, like manage the scheduled times for feeding, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I just crushed it out. It was not a big deal. Let me see if I can actually open it up. There we go.
But this is also where like the value of letting it create the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I get in trouble with Claude, where it's like, I fix some stuff because I can do it faster instead of asking Claude to edit the document. And now we're working off of two different truths.
Right.
Right. So if I want to continue down that path, down that workflow, I have to update like Claude manually. And I don't always do that. So like the work stream and not right. This is, I mean, again, we're back to humans working with other humans, where how hard is it for leaders to just delegate and then let the thing happen, even though they could do it 10 times faster and better. The only way your team's going to learn, and your team like is by doing it themselves. Also, they need you to not be doing that kind of stuff and doing other stuff
right
that you never get to because you think you need to be a part of every process. Okay, so I added the subdomain in Ionos.
Okay.
What am I looking for over here?
So you should have a file manager somewhere in Ionos.
All right. So I'm here. At this point, like, I don't know what I should or should not be showing. So
yeah. You should be all right. I'm fairly sure. Now stay towards the top. Name server DNS. Yeah, you might not have. Oh, click on home, the little home icon. Might be in a sub menu. Okay, websites and stores. Yeah, let's try that. Oh, never mind. There it is. Cloud storage and online drive, I believe. Yep. A high drive. Cool. Save your data in your cloud storage. That should be it. Go ahead and start. See what the hell that looks like. Instant domain. Yeah. I try to save your files. Yeah. Okay, so activate. It should look like
do
a
I want it
file
in
folder.
German?
Automatic detection, though.
Yeah, let's just get rid of that. iDrive must be a German word, obviously.
Okay. Yeah, so this is going to be like the username and password to access this online file storage. Yeah, definitely going to want to keep that stored locally too.
Alrighty.
I want a thumb drive. Like, yeah, that's what I need. I need a fingerprint drive.
See, like, why can't we use same login info as the rest of Ionos?
Just automatically copy my stuff, right? Like, why?
Instead of generate automatically, I don't want another one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Should do it. Sorry, folks. On my end, I am working on Hub Helper Harry and another application.
Share your side whenever you like.
Let me just get this prompt going. Hey, bud. I love starting about the same way. Is that working? Sure is. Hey, bud, can you go ahead and dive through the repo? And there should be a file in there specifically for you labeled with Claude code for how you can get started on building out this application. But make sure that you do a nice comprehensive, back to front on all the documentation in the main directory. You don't need to go through any docs in the other ones. And these off. Okay.
Hey, by the way, the question that I asked Nico is being answered here by the agent.
Yeah, in terms of like, here's your file and here's what you're supposed to do.
Here's the deployment guide.
Yep. And if you had actually, that's the thing is, context, right? So even afterwards, you can still tell it and just say like, oh, my hosting service is Ionos. And it'll go in and it will change it and go research and go on the web and search up how to install it for Ionos and all that kind of stuff. Not like probably 7 out of 10 agents I work with now do that. And they weren't doing that like 3 months ago, but now they'll actually ask you and they'll say, oh, who is your host? And they know to go out and look for the details of like the hosting company and to set your stuff up specific for that. So yeah, that's what I mean. And like, man, in another 3 months, it's going to be such a joke. Like in like 3 to 4 months, people are going to be building apps like they make Sora videos. Like that's how much it's going to be, right? Like that's how much stuff is going to be out there. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts to me. And then to your point, like earlier when you were saying, there's that level of creativity that goes into what you're going to be doing with AI. Like I said, I mess around in Suno all the time, and I love I guess you can call it producing because I love coming up with music and I love coming up with like instrumentals and stuff. So far as I understand it, producers come up with beats. So I'm just working on stuff, and at the same time, for the I don't know 87 millionth time, because for some reason it's just I've watched it a couple times, so I guess TikTok is just slamming me with it now. But Thought Squad came up and Pound Cake came on, and that's like, I don't know, it's a great, if you haven't heard that song, it's an amazing hype song. I'm not saying the lyrics are magnanimous. It's a great hype song. If you're working out, great song. But in that song, it's really unique in that the producer clearly used a toy xylophone, but it's a very particular toy xylophone. I remember which one it is. It's a little bit because there was the tiny one, but that has like a high pitched like sound to it. There was a little bit long. The tiny one had the little plastic handle. The longer one had the wooden handle with like a little bit of had the red ball on it. The tiny one had like the yellow or blue one on it. And it was the longer one. And it immediately popped into my head because the song has these xylophone notes to it. But again, it's like when I went to Suno to go try to like replicate that sound, that's exactly what I typed in. And I initially typed in toy xylophone solo intro, right? And so that's what I got, but it was a little bit too high pitched. I'm like, there's no way it knows the difference between like the large version and the small version, right? I was like, large toy xylophone like intro or whatever, and sure enough, like it's the same exact xylophone sound, right? So and at the same time, my wife was like, Laura's like, why don't you just put it in GPT or whatever, or have something like I'm sure there's an AI that can like listen to it and decode it. I was like, that's where you're killing your creativity and your critical thinking, right? Like, yes, it can do the translation. It's awesome. There are cases where you need that. And that's where you don't know anything about what should get translated, right? So, like for me, when it comes to programming and coding, I don't know what the next best move is, but I know it does know what the next best move is because it's been working on the code, not me. So I trust it to do that part. But when it comes to like me making music, no, I'm going to figure that out on my own. I'm going to figure out what that sound is, and I'm going to be able to like make it a part of the song. Like in that song, there's these weird, like there's horns, but they're used in an odd way. And they're used almost, in this like not even necessarily staccato fashion, but the way that I described it in Suno was stomping saxophones, like bursting, like burst noise or whatever. And that's, you just get this bump, bump, bump. It's exactly what I was looking for. Came out exactly as I had expected it to come out. But it had to be described the way I described it. I don't know what the technical sound for that is, but I know exactly what it sounds like, right? So I know how to describe what that sound is. And clearly Suno understands that as well. So,
That's called natural language creation.
we're vibing music.
All right, let's see what you got on your side.
So this was the CRM that we built last week. And nothing too crazy about it, but like you can move, if we wanted to, obviously just add more to it where it's like, yeah, what about grab and pull it over? Like, yeah, you can do that.
That was an immediate idea I had since Friday. And one of the reasons I kind of want to rebuild it is having it, since it's a teaching tool, like having it with pre-demo data, like pre-built demo data, like in it, right?
Yeah. But yeah, service desk, and you can have all these different tickets and stuff and activities the same way as you would, any other CRM. And the thing is like, if I needed this to be specific to something, right, then like that's where I would want to be able to do that. Go put in whatever and have something else happen like as a result or whatever. And it's like super simple. It's not, it's not something complex where I have to like jump into something and like stitch a bunch of stuff together or whatever. At once I get this, which I will today since I have the time. I'll be downloading this and then throw that up and give it to Claude Code and just tell it to literally, like, I've done this several times and it is actually very cool. I don't know why all the auto coders know this so well, because they do not like do online references ever. They don't like go review anything when they come back with the answer. But one of the funnest things to do is once you get your app to like the MVP stage and you like it and you want to just have fun, just tell the autocoder, hey man, treat this like treat this like it's, pimp my app and, your exhibit. And I want to see like the most, just pimped out thing that you could possibly come up with, like really just deck it out or whatever. It will come back like, little flame emojis everywhere with like this just shocking 25 feature list. Just be like, you ready to make this out? I'm going to put features in your features for your features. I was like, oh my God, yes, please. Like, please do this. So I'm going to try apply that towards the CRM and see how that goes. But again, I was thinking like, okay, well, what could you do? Like, what else could you do with it? Because it's like, surely people aren't just going to build web apps all day. And it's like, yeah, you don't have to, right? So me and Laura went to the Columbus Zoo not too long ago, and that went through my head, and it's like, well, what if they needed like an app to be able to take care of like scheduling? I'm sure they don't. I'm sure they have something, right? But again, is it tuned to them? Do they have to pay like a ridiculous amount of money? Wouldn't it be a lot easier if they could just like get something that's totally, configured and convenient for them to be able to use? Yeah, right. And like, would it be difficult to be able to build this out? No, because it was literally just one sentence and like a couple little answers to stuff. And you end up with really nice cards that you can edit and move around, change statuses on. You can search by stat. None of this stuff, none of what you're looking at was like specifically requested. None of it, like not any of these, nothing. Like it was just, hey, I want to be able to check inventory, care on the animals, and weekly scheduling for employees. That's it. That's all I asked for. Right. And then it just pumped out all of this other stuff. So, dashboard, you got your overview, animals, you got care log. So you can put whatever type of care that you had to apply. So like super simple, right? And I'm sure you could have it, give you a admin or a configuration panel where you can put staff names in. So it'd be a drop down menu instead, which is all stuff where like, oh, okay, if that's what you wanted, that you could just go back to it and be like, hey, this is cool, but could you update this so that it's like that instead? Yeah, no problem. Boom, goes in there, makes the change, blah, 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 comes back with the update, right? Could you make time like a drop down and like date field, right? Wow, there you go. It's awesome. Intuitive. And then veterinary care, right? Like when something happened, like whatever the last stuff was, notes, all that kind of stuff, you can add that kind of thing. Inventory care, obviously, you can whatever, go by the type of item it is, add stuff, remove stuff, edit, weekly inventory for stuff. So basically being able to catch up on like, instead of somebody having to go and manually write shit in there, it's already in there, and then it's got the set amounts that it should be or whatever, and whether you need to change it or not, and then whether you've reviewed it, and then it has its own little progress bar at the top, so you can see how much progress you've completed. Turns it into a little mini game for you. Save where you've been at, or come back and complete it later. Test. Sweet. Get away. Still some bugs to work out, but again, this was like one request, 30 minutes or something on its end, and it's just because that's how long it took the model. Like if I had this installed locally, I have no idea. I'm going to try to mess around with that later today too, since you can, and see how much faster that runs locally, because I'm willing to bet that it's like a demon. And if that's the case, then yeah, this absolutely like puts the irons to Claude Code, because it's not that Claude Code is bad. It's just that it's a totally different process. So like what Chris was talking about in terms of getting it out of this and then getting it hosted somewhere, right? It's a little bit of a process. There's a couple different ways you can go about doing it. kind of just, it does depend a little bit on what you know. But here's the thing. If you're working, as we always say, like work with a team. If you're building an app and you're working with Claude or GPT and you're building out your app there, right? Everything for your app should be built before you even start going to your autocoder, like on paper, right? Whatever, digitally. So like you should have docs of here's what the safety requirements are. Here's what, happens in the instance of like errors. Here's how you like handle errors. Like here's what, the schema should look like. Here's what the UI should look like. Here's what the user journey is. Here's the overall for the app. Here's all how APIs are configured. If there's some sort of special automations or something, here's how those work. All of that detail of like, and it's honestly easier than you think. Cause I'm sure you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, I don't have the time for that. But you do have, like, that's why I love dictation and just talking back to my computer, because it'll give you the list. You can sit there and say like, hey, what documentation do we need in order for me to hand this over to Claude Code so that it can just knock out the development on this app? And it'll go ahead and list, here's what we need in order to do that. And then, all right, let's get started on this. Cool. I'll ask you some questions. We'll fill out that doc. All right. You just go through like an interview process of building your own application that probably not going to take. It's funny because George shared that video the other day of like Gary Vaynerchuk, who, if you guys don't know, is a great motivational speaker, was talking about how he had spent like 30 minutes or something like that on a prompt that he was working on, and that he was ready for, or like, he was just like, yeah, he's like, spent all that time before I even bothered getting into like the app to start doing the development for it. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of the way it is now. Like I definitely spend probably, I don't know, I would say in terms of building the app, I spend way more time concepting than I do actually building. Say that. I mean, like I'm not building it to begin with, obviously, to be fair, but to put it in context, I could spend 2 days to 3 days doing nothing but documentation before I actually get to the autocoder and start like, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. So like the GPT project or the Claude project is chocked full of shit. Like it is built right to the point where I'll ask the Claude project, hey man, are we missing anything? Right? Is there even the tiniest little detail that we're neglecting that, if we forget this, it could rip the entire application apart? And it's whenever that comes back, no, from Opus, we're good.
Yeah. Like in that tracks, right? That's what I've been saying for a while. I didn't know exactly that it would connect to this point, but the easiest part of any digital project now, including CRM, is the build.
Yep.
The build should be the easiest part. So when I'm coaching people, 95% of the project is figuring out what your damn data model needs to be. Like what your processes need to be, documenting that stuff. Because the build, you should not be paying people for a bunch of hours of build time. There are so many ways to make the build super easy, super fast. And it only is not when you have not done this stuff up front. The documentation, the strategy, figuring out what you actually need for your business and your humans in your business, because you will no doubt figure that out as you're building. And it will be much more costly and much more time intensive. And you will probably associate it to build. Like this is what drives me crazy when I trying to help consultants think about this in a better way. Like, no, you only attribute this many hours because you're doing this stuff during the process. Because you either didn't know it needed to be done or you don't know how to do it beforehand. And that's getting everybody in the room, giving them a voice, saying, this is what's about to happen. Let me know. Let us know what we need to do so that we can handle it right now instead of delivering you a piece of software that you're going to hate right away. It's not going to do anything that matters for your job. That's how we've been doing SaaS. And most of the time, we build workarounds in the moment and just build massive amounts of tech debt. So when I say that SaaS is one big workaround, that's what I'm referring to,
Now it is.
right?
Like I see basically, and I found somebody's process out there. Um, More power to you. And I'd name drop, but basically what happened is I took your process and turned it into an application because it shouldn't have been like this long ass process. And I'm just gonna keep continuing to do that. I mean, like that's literally my job now is to take manual processes and throw them down the drain and replace it with automated processes that kick ass instead. So, obviously just going to keep doing that. But in the meantime, yeah, probably week to week, I'll be talking to you guys about pretty much the latest thing that's been put together that in terms of automation starts to catch up to and or eliminate quite a lot of different tools out there. Like I said, the one in particular that I put together yesterday basically nets together like HubSpot, GitHub, Google Docs, and another like third-party note platform. And where you would think like, oh, did you do it with an agent or something like that? Why did you do it with a front-end software kit? And it's like, because now everybody can use it. And like everybody can use an agent depending on if they have signed up for the platform, if they understand how to use it, like this, that, and the other thing. Or you can just give them a really nice React front-end software that they'll understand it, and it's got explanations and everything on it, and it's nice, intuitive, looks clean, whatever. Probably has 2 buttons on it, type of deal. And like that to me is the future. I love doing that. So quite honestly, if you still are building like complex ways of doing things, have at it, because you're literally building my job security. It's the nicest way that I could put it.
Oh man, that's the truth. Like, there's no room for unnecessary complexity when we've got these AI tools. So,
And this whole thing of like, oh, they're hiring people to come back and clean up code. They're not doing it at Anthropic, and they're not doing it at OpenAI, and they're not doing it at DeepMind or Google. So maybe could just be that the people who are using your tools on your end, not the best, right? But the tool itself is going to get better in the next 3 months, whatever they're lacking. It's so close to 100% now, it's ridiculous, right? In terms of like accuracy on code, I think they're at like 80 something, 85% or something like that on like top models. So it's probably going to be like 90% or somewhere abouts. And I mean, they already gold medaled in math and coding. So yeah, the next thing and to me, I mean, I've used Claude Code now for, I don't know, a couple weeks. It's flawless. I have yet to come across anything where I'm like, hey, can you do this? And it does it and it comes out wrong. If it does, it's because I told it the wrong thing. Hands down. I've been working with this thing, and hands down, you have got to tell it the wrong thing to do to get it to screw something up. And it really is like I mean, if you've been vibe coding, or I'm sure if you've been a programmer or developer or whatever, it really does feel like magic. I'm sorry. Like, there's really no other way that I can possibly explain it than because, I mean, I have been waiting for the longest time for something like this, where like, hey, I can finally build an application that, is made by a machine. So it's like so cleanly put together that it basically just doesn't break because of the fact that it was like engineered by a machine that probably didn't forget to add that extra curly brace where he should have added the curly brace, right? Like, I don't know. It's so close. And like, I'm sure by the end of next year, we'll have our first AI coding language that will just dwarf the hell out of everything. And like, and we'll be studying it. So by the end of next year, there will be the first AI coding language that humans are going to begin to study so that they can understand it, not so that they can write it. You'll just study it in order to be able to read it and understand what it is. That's it. And hopefully we can. Hopefully it's not some like crazy ass complex math or something like something we've never seen before. Like, who knows? Because that's happening now too. The whole thing of like them coming up with new frontier stuff, it's getting so very close. It's not quite there yet where like, oh, it just developed a new color, or oh, it just developed a new way of doing math. It's, well, you know what? Didn't it break something in physics recently? No, that's what the Alzheimer's breakthrough is actually a breakthrough in physics, in quantum mechanics of all things. The way in which they were able to figure it out was with a new math that literally we would have never figured out. We never would have figured it out. Like, try to imagine that, guys. Like, I mean, they're like, I don't know. Like, it's so weird to me that this stuff isn't more like monumental and like moving for other people, because to me, it's ridiculous that like you're staring at the solution to something that you would have otherwise never seen. It would have never come to fruition. It's not like sitting here and saying like, yeah, one day we'll travel to Mars. And, you know, you never see it happen or something like that because it takes too long for us to put the shit. I don't know, whatever, right? That's different. That's very different to me. This is finding stuff and finding out things, and it's going to just, I mean, it's going to 10x next year, right? So like, it's solving things and bringing things into fruition. Like, life hacks are a joke by comparison to the type of stuff this thing is figuring out. I just mean this thing by AI in general. I don't know. Like, to me, next year looks so very, computing next year looks so very different than it does this year. I haven't wrapped my head around it fully, but I did get Claude Code to push out a Jarvis application. It is running. It's got work to go. I realize, I'm sure there's a lot of developers out there. They're just like, wow, now you really bit off more than you can chew because you can't even get that stuff running. I get it. The models think that it can work, so I'm going to let them try to work it out. Meanwhile, by the end of Q1, that'll just be a thing. What do you think the point of an AI operating system is? Do you think the point of an AI operating system is that you don't control your computer with your voice? Or that you're still typing everything in? No, friends, it's not. When I work with Comet, I don't type. I just say stuff because the agent just does it, and I don't bother doing like the web searching and all that kind of stuff. If I'm using Chrome, it's because there's just new features on Chrome that are pretty sick that you just, you know, it's going to take Comet a minute. But yeah, that's the way that I prefer to interface with my machine. I prefer to dictate if I could. And the reason that I want Jarvis is quite honestly, so like, here's the funny part, right? They were saying like, oh, AI, so you can work less, you know, be lazier or something like that. I want Jarvis so that I can work on stuff when I'm not like at my desk, and have my assistant to be able to like verbally come back to me and be like, hey man, yeah, this is done. Did you want to like, and I know you guys are saying like, well, notifications and stuff like that. Again, how much more inconvenient, right? Because the fastest way, assuming that I got the notification that like, hey, phase 4 is done. Do you want to move on to phase 5? The fastest way I could do it in whatever inconvenient place I'm in would be to open it up, hit the text frame, hit my microphone button and then dictate into it looking like an idiot about, yeah, here's what you got to do next, right? Yeah, like begin phase 4, make sure, blah, blah, blah. Or I can have my earbud in and Jarvis could be like, hey, man, I just finished phase 4. I was thinking about starting phase 5. It looks like we're going to have this, and this go on. Flip a coin. I know you're busy at the function that you're at, but I just need you to let me know A or B. That's what I'm waiting on, right? Like that's gonna be some cool shit. Because I mean, I already do the whatever Claude Code like mobile stuff. Like, if you got, I'm sure you guys on Apple, I don't know what it's like. I would say I feel sorry for you, but you've had like 2 decades. So if you use a normal phone, it's so amazing to be able to like open up your browser, go to Claude Code, and just boop, start doing this, start working on this. While I'm gonna go, I gotta go to dinner, but why don't you code this out real quick for me and notify me when you're done, right? And like halfway through dinner, like, oh, I gotta use the bathroom. Be right back. Oh, did you update that? All right, I get to work on this part now, and by the time we're done with dessert, move on to building out the back end too. So yeah, it definitely becomes, at least for me, it's very highly addictive, but in like the best way possible, because I don't know, it's highly addictive, but super productive.
You're creating value,
Right.
right?
Like on a non-stop basis, honestly.
Right. Like sustained value, right? Not just whatever drug is nearby, just give you that hit, like that kind of value. It's like building, yeah, value that'll be around, whether it's knowledge for yourself, knowledge for others.
Yep.
Man.
And it's like I say, I've seen more and more commercials that speak to using this as the base to jump off to something better. Right. When I see Suno commercials, they are musicians who are basically filling in gaps that they couldn't otherwise fill in. I don't know how many of you guys are out there. I've seen you before, and I'm sorry, because like it's just in the tons. The number of guitarists out there looking for a band, number of bassists and vocalists, right? They're looking for a band, but there's not enough people. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't have to anymore, right? And what I find even more awesome is like, myself, not that I would, I'm doing equally awesome things, just not doing entertainment stuff. But if I was doing that, what I find awesome is that I don't necessarily know how to play like a bunch of different instruments. You see people on YouTube that they play all these, instruments in front of the live crowd and sing at the same time. I would love to be able to be that level of entertaining, but I'm not. Like I can just sing and that's about it. But it would be cool to be able to show up with my own tracks and my own backtracks and instrumentals that I was able to put together without having to spend like $3,000 with a producer, and then actually being able to like sing in public and do busking and stuff like that. Just, again, because you're actually able to put a full track together with the background and all that kind of stuff. So, I think, between that, you're going to have videographers, directors, cinematographers, storyboard artists, screenplay writers, like all of those people who wish that their movies could have been made the way that they wanted them to be made. All of them. You guys have any idea how many screenplays are out there? Like, I couldn't even begin to put a number on it, but I'm sure it's well above 200,000. I'm sure. I'm sure only maybe 50,000 of that pile have even been looked at. And I'm talking about screenplays that haven't been made into movies yet. Right? Just sitting around. So, that kind of stuff. Have you seen, oh shit, did you see what Adobe just dropped? Like the new Adobe stuff?
I did not.
I gotta say, they do a good job of making me look bad. They really do.
Well, it's another company where you're like,
you'd think it would fold.
Like, what are you doing? Like,
Right.
Right. So again, this is where it's like, man, even if you're a little guy, you've had some time, but at some point, the big guys have the resources and the knowledge and the data to do this, right? And all they got to do is execute in a different way than they're used to executing in the things that made the money, right? We're already seeing Google do it. That uh, um, like in the recent AI Daily brief, like talked about how Google versus Microsoft versus Meta in their like um, like Google checked off both boxes, which is like spending a lot, getting a lot of ROI. Microsoft and Meta only checked off one of the boxes. Google went up; those two went down. Right. So the playbook for how to stay in front is pretty obvious now, and it's probably just 100% like leadership related and how they execute, because they all have the resources they need to be out front, right? And this is
Mhm.
even on the organizational level. We talk about you have a staff of customer facing individuals that can do all the context engineering you would ever need to do without bringing anybody else in to figure out how to make AI work for your business. And like, are you going to give them the time to do that? Are you going to let them do that for you? You want to share? You want me to share a screen?
Yeah. So this is Project Soundstage. Let me do this. Quite sure why this is so jacked up. Hold on a second. Of course. AV, someday in the future, it'll actually work right.
Yep. Someday we'll be sitting around in our haptic suits and just grab out here. Let's grab this video.
Even I can't even with this one. Like, I don't understand why. All right, I wish I could show it to you because it's really, really cool. But yeah, Soundstager basically allows you to change voice like uh mid edit.
Right. And what I would
Look,
expect.
I can only blame like YouTube at this point because like otherwise I don't know.
We'll give it another shot tomorrow. But what I would expect from Adobe
I don't.
is bringing Hollywood level like production editing capabilities down into their suite
Okay.
of products. Which is what I'm hearing.
I don't even understand. It's like sound issue. Yeah, it's like if I have sound on.
That is weird.
I mean, come on now. Like, really? Because the bit rate is that much higher with the sound on? What are we doing now, YouTube? Like, I don't understand, dude. How jacked up is that? That as soon as I mute it, it goes full like speed, but as soon as I unmute it, buffer. Yeah, like I don't know what to tell you guys. Go check out the Adobe Max video. Fuck. Anytime you try to do live demos, right? That's why I didn't even try to build something out live because I knew it would like come out, looking like the code version of Elephant Man. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting close to hosting and pulling up a website.
Well, you got it. Okay.
So I think we'll wrap here for the live content. And then I'll have something to show you guys tomorrow morning. But yeah, man, it's been fun as always. Thank you for opening my eyes to this new, or the not so new avenue, but new for me. The barrier has come down far enough to go down these rabbit holes. But until next time, folks, join us tomorrow morning. We'll be up and at 'em at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. If you want to join us for Value First AI Daily. If not, you can catch us on Spotify. So until then, everybody have a great rest of your Sunday. Thanks, Nico.
See you guys.